Alright, hello my fans. This is Mark Anthony Dark 66. I am back here again with some more musical tips and tricks to help you in your musical journey, whatever that may be. You can apply these tips, tricks, and even my musical opinion to your musical situation and become successful at what you do. Alright, let's get into it. Okay, so first question. Let's see here. Okay, how has technology impacted the production and recording of music? Well, first thing I can tell you right off the bat is it's a lot different today than it was back then. Meaning, wow. I know that there are certain apps, I'm not going to mention them in here because I'm not advertising them unless you want to message me and inquire about that, do some business with me. There are apps out there where you can actually rap to a beat on your phone, without having any recording equipment, which I think is pretty cool and pretty amazing. I did mention in one of my previous videos that I believe in my first movie, I actually started as a rapper before I became a singer. So man, wow, I remember I had to get recording software. I had to use my laptop. I had to turn my closet into a studio, and I was just making mixtapes at the time, but it wasn't as far along and as easy to do as it is now, where you can just hold your phone and just create a song, with somebody else's beats on the other side of the world, which I think is really, really cool, so that's just one example of how recording has changed since I started. But again, I'm not gonna tell you my exact age. You gotta just leave that at bay. When we do music, we always gotta be young, relevant, cool, and you can learn a lot from old music anyway. But that's definitely one way that it's changed. That definitely wasn't available to me when I started 10 years ago. Anyways. Okay, so next question. Do you still buy records and CDs? This is great. I want to start out by saying I do have CDs in my car. I still do listen to CDs. I'm not really into putting some type of an MP3 player in my car on shuffle. I'm the type of person where I like to be in control of what I'm listening to. So CDs are cool for me because I like the shuffling. I like clicking on the song. I know you could still do that with an MP3 player, but it's just a lot more simple with a CD. Another thing is records, vinyl records. If you can find an oldies artist that you like, or an artist from that era where they had vinyl records. I think throughout my life I may have listened to a few vinyls, maybe with my dad. I know that my dad did have a record player at some point in time, but it was more of a collector's item. But it has been known that if you listen to a vinyl record, there's nothing like listening to it, because it's not necessarily the best quality, but it's a very raw quality that creates nostalgia when you listen to it. So if you can ever get a vinyl record, one as a collector's item and two as a listening tool from a musicianly standpoint, that would be really cool. It's a pretty cool experience. I highly recommend it for anybody that wants to explore music. Alright, on to the next question. How has the rise of streaming services changed the way we listen to and appreciate music? Well, I can definitely start off by saying that streaming services like have changed that, because like today in our society today, musicians don't see musicianship the same way as they did, say, in like the 50s or the 60s. Back in the 50s and the 60s, in the world, like, if you were a musician, you were in it for the long haul. Nowadays, it seems like people are just, you know, they're trying to be like overnight successes. And I'm not saying for like I'm not saying for all musicians, and I don't want to like make this about just musicians from this era, because some take it more seriously than others, but it's just a general attitude that like the new generation has, where they're like, okay, I'm just gonna like record this song, and then I'm gonna, become like a millionaire, and I'm gonna, buy a house and a nice car, and like I get that, like, hey, more power to you if that's what you want to do. Some of these streaming platforms, though, have like affiliated themselves with certain musicians in terms of advertising and marketing, which I think would propel them to like higher levels than other musicians and artists. That's just my opinion. I don't want to seem like I have like sour grapes over it, meaning that like I'm not like mad at that, but it's all about like the hit song as opposed to like putting together a good album, which I've seen change over time from when I was just, a toddler until, like just yesterday. It's like, oh, let me just get this single. Okay, I like this song and this song and this song, but I don't like this song. I like this artist better. And like it doesn't, for me, it doesn't like hurt my feelings or anything. It's just the way music has changed to what it is today isn't how it's always been. And it's that's how the streaming services do it. They promote one song, or they promote an album, or they promote an artist, and unless you have some connections within there, I'm not saying you can't make it, but the game has changed. Also think about this, like back in the 60s and 70s, you had a radio. You just had a radio, and somehow you had to get your song to play on the radio, and not only did you have to get it to play on the radio, but you had to get everybody to like it. It's like more people were involved in those times than the people today, because it's like now it's like, okay, I'm gonna sit in front of my computer and I'm gonna judge this. You know what I mean? And like back then it was like it was more about drawing a crowd before, keeping everything a secret, and then showing the new album, and then putting on the show, and then so I mean, however way you look at this is just my opinion, okay? And my opinions, I don't want you guys to think I'm like a snobby musician, like, my way is always the right way or something like that. This is just the way I see things, and I'm not always saying that the old way is the way to go. But I'm just, in retrospect, like showing the difference between then and now. So, there you go. Okay, how has the rise of social media changed the way music is shared and experienced? Well, once again, I mean, it's, things can go viral in 24 hours. Things can go viral in 1 hour, et cetera, et cetera. This doesn't only pertain to music, it pertains to the news that we see every day. Such and such, this happened in the news today, this happened, look at this, hey, this is funny. The list goes on and on. I think it's today to just like put a stamp on what I'm saying is it like when an artist becomes popular or reaches fame, it happens so much quicker than it has in the past because of the technology. There's no there's no like there's so much less hard work that's put into it. And I'm going to give you an example of that. And this is a really cool example, all right? If you can look up the band Aerosmith, how they actually became Aerosmith and what they did to get to that level, I'm not going to say it in this video because you got to see it for yourself. Just see if you can you can look up yourself an Aerosmith documentary and see how they actually made it, because that type of stuff doesn't even exist anymore, and that answers the question on, you know, how social media has, like, you know, changed the world basically. Because if you saw how these guys actually did it, you'd probably say to yourself, as I said to myself when I started getting into music, I'm not really trying to live that life just to be a successful musician. Because you can be successful at any level, okay? But if you want, like, the fame and all that, you know, there's going to be a time where you're going to have to really, like, pay your dues for it. But the way these guys did it, it almost doesn't even exist anymore, how they actually became famous. So check that out, Aerosmith. There's like a million documentaries, YouTube documentaries. It's very entertaining, very cool. Aerosmith's on their last tour now, by the way, as I'm shooting this right now. So shout out to Aerosmith. So alright, let's see. Okay, last question. Okay, let's see. How has the internet changed the way we access and share music? Well, I mean, social media and internet, that kind of goes hand in hand. I mean, even the way the artist gets paid now isn't the same as, you know, like when they were getting paid, like in the past. Like, you know, you would look at a band and you would be like basically forced to buy the whole album. Like now you can just go on the internet and say, oh yeah, I'm just gonna listen to this song on YouTube and such, and you know they're still getting paid, which is cool, which is definitely cool. But it's like, it's definitely not the same as it was, like, you know, like 30 to 50 years ago. Like, not even close. I mean, it's just so music is so accessible now through the internet, and it's so there's so many different broad options of listening, whereas, you know, it's, I mean, and you know, like, one of my testaments is, like, that's why I love doing my stuff live. Like, if you go to my page, my other page, not Dark South Limited, if you go see me sing, Mark Anthony Dark 66, my page, I do cover songs. All my stuff is, well, it's not, I don't do live streaming, but like you could see it's me physically there singing. Like, you know, like in my home studio or whatever you want to call it. But it's accessible. It's you know, that's part of my success too. So, like, you know, I don't want to seem like I'm bashing today's society. I'm just saying, like, in retrospect, it's like night and day. It's like two different worlds, you know, going from, you know, 50 years ago to today. So that's how the internet has changed the way we access music in accordance with social media. It's the same thing, but, you know, on social media there's more like politics involved. Like, oh yeah, you know, this is my favorite band, you gotta see this band, they're the best band, you know, etc., etc. On social media, as opposed to the internet, you know, the popularity of the music, etc., etc. The list goes on and on. Okay, last question. How do you prepare for your cover songs? And why are you good at it? Okay. Musical questions. Okay. Before I cover a song, I usually listen to the song like a solid 20 to 30 times. If I haven't heard it at least 20 to 30 times. Hold on. Before that, let's rewind. Before I cover a song, it has to fit me. I'm going to say that again. Before I cover a song, it has to fit me. Okay, meaning that from the beginning of the song to the end of the song, these lyrics have to encapsulate Mark Anthony Dark 66. If these lyrics do not encapsulate Mark Anthony Dark 66, it's not going to happen. Why is it not going to happen? Because I'm not going to make myself look like a wannabe or something that I'm not. I'll say that again. I'm not going to make myself look like a wannabe or something that I'm not. In one of the previous movies, we talked about the lead singer from Led Zeppelin and the lead singer from Nirvana switching and doing each other's songs. It would be like night and day. It would be like something you've never seen before. And in music, that's not always the answer. Music, here comes a nugget. Hold on to this one, right? Music is poetry in motion. Wow, I'm really repeating myself a lot on this segment. Okay, music is poetry in motion, meaning that, like, if you're writing original material, you have a free palette to do whatever you want, sing kind of like your own style, this, that, and the other thing. Me, I'm a cover song artist. So that means that if this song doesn't really, like, jive with me, I'm not going to do it because it's not going to come off right. And there's a lot of songs out there that I've said that, like behind the scenes, where I'm like, okay, you know, I'm gonna do this song and it's gonna sound like mediocre. It's gonna sound like okay, or it's gonna sound like, you know, like it's like this, different strokes for different folks. You got to find your niche and stick to it. Like, and you know, you don't want to make yourself look like you're something that you're not capable of, or that doesn't sound natural. And that's something else that makes me pretty good as a singer is I try to be as natural as possible. And I'm just saying pretty good. I'm not saying I'm like the next sensation or anything, okay? I'm just saying, like, I'm pretty good because I can level myself to be like, okay, like, I could actually see myself doing it. So after I get to that point where I'm like, okay, this is me, this is Mark Anthony Dark 66, I then listen to the song and I listen to the notes and I'm like, all right, I can hit that, I can hit this, I can hit that, all right, that's cool. And if I reach a part where I'm like, I don't know, I might be stretching it, if I reach that point, I figure how I'm going to modify it or make it my style as opposed to their style. And if I can do that, then we got a home run. Then I'm in, okay? Behind the scenes, when you see my music page, it might take me like, you know, like 10 to 15 cuts sometimes, because I'm like, you know, oh, you know, after I listen to it, I gotta, you know, after I nail it, I go back to listening to it. But I've been doing it for such a long time now, so I know I'm actually at the point now where, like, as I'm doing it, as I'm recording, I know that it's good, and I'm like, okay, that's the one. That's the one that's going up on the internet, because I've been doing it for so long that I have such an ear for it, where, like, I know my voice, I know how it goes, so I'm like, it's just a source of confidence, really. But I don't want to over embellish the whole process of how I cover a song, but it starts with that. Seeing myself doing it Mark Anthony Dark 66 is covering this song. It fits. It sounds good. It looks good when I perform it. It's me. After I get past that, then I go into the mechanics and I'm like, I feel the song out and I'm like, okay, that's my range. I could hit these notes. If I can't get past this part, I'll modify it, etc., etc., etc. So there's my musical opinion, tips, tricks, advice for this segment. This is the 6th movie installment. Dark South Limited, Mark Anthony Dark 66. See you next time. Alright, here we are back again. Mark Anthony Dark 66, 6th movie installment with Dark South Limited. Shout out to the CEO of Dark South Limited, Jamer. We're doing this here with music, tips, tricks, advice, opinions, music all day, every day. How to make money, music, money, music. Oh man, it just gets more fun and more fun. Alright, so here we go. This is gonna be one of my personal favorite segments. Just letting you know. Because not every single, this is kind of like a job. It's like, well, it is a job. It just became a job for me, so. Dark South Limited, company I work for. It's doing great right now. Alright, anyways, let's not get sidetracked. This is one of my personal favorite segments because of this first question. Here we go. Let's get right into it. Are there any artists that you feel are underrated? Yes, absolutely. The number one underrated artist that is so phenomenally amazing on the guitar is none other than Carlos Santana. I'm telling you, this guy is amazing on the guitar. Amazing. Like, he's like one of my top 5 favorite guitar players, like, of all time. He's just so great. It's like out of this world. Carlos Santana, in my book, top 5 greatest guitar players. Quite possibly the best guitar player that ever lived. Well, in my previous video, I chose Jimmy Page as the best guitar player of all time, but like Carlos Santana is like right up there. Right up there. I mean, he's that good. It's like the first time I heard Santana play the guitar, I was like, what? You know, I did like, what? I mean, it was out of this world. And every time I hear him, I know it's him. I'm like, okay, there he is. There's Santana. I can tell it's him. Like, he's that good. Another underrated guitar player, he also does vocals. His name is Gary Moore. If you want to look him up, I believe his song is called Still Got the Blues. This guy is such a great guitar player, and it's like, he's like so under the radar. It's like, the first time I heard him, I almost fell over. I was like, who is this? And those are my 2 most underrated musicians that I could think of right off the top of my head, you know. So it's those guys. Let's get back into this here. Okay, hold on a second. You know, just lost my questions here. But just to keep you entertained, like, the list for underrated, like, artists, I mean, we could sit here for days and be like, you know, this guy, is really good, and you know you got to hear this song, and like I mean we're talking like when I say those two, like we're talking like consistent, like song after song after song is just like guitar like from another universe. You know, because if you measure somebody's musicianship by one song and one song only, that's not, like, in my book, that's not a real musician. You gotta be, I mean, even if you go to my page, I do cover songs, I think, I don't know, maybe I got like 50 plus songs on there or something. Like, I mean, like, I don't know, I mean, I'm just saying, like, I've covered like a lot of songs in my life, so like, I know that I'm a musician because I've worked hard and like done a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, just keep that in mind when you say like, you know, somebody's like overrated, underrated, whatever. All right, next topic. Are there any musical trends that you think are overrated? Now, I really don't like this question. It makes me nervous. I don't want to say the wrong thing, okay? And I don't want to attack a certain group of music. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to share an experience with you about a certain group of music, which I'm not dogging this music. I still listen to this music today. It's not a thorn in my side or anything like that. It's just my opinion of the music at the time went something like this. When they first came out with, this was like maybe like 10 years ago or so. They came out with this music called like house music, where these computer sounds crashing into each other make a song. Okay, so when this music came out, I went to a club with my friend at the time, and they were playing that music all night. Now I'm just saying, when I walked out of this club, I had a throbbing headache. I mean, like a throbbing headache. I had to like sit down for at least 20 minutes and just get some fresh air, and it was really because of the music. The music was just so loud. So I figured, you know, I like that music, but only listening to it when it's low. Like you know, on my laptop or on my tablet or something like that. I didn't want it blaring at me, sort of a thing. That's really the only music that I ever really, really had a problem with. Sometimes, just to be like really fair, like I think if some songs are a little too political or a little too like extreme, I don't like that. If somebody has like a very extreme um uh very extreme like message that could be offensive to others, you know, that's to me like that's more politics. um I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain. Like, I don't really, I mean, I don't like have like a song that, like, to me music is something that, like, you know, like sounds good that people want to listen to, not something that, like, you know, makes a huge political statement. And you know, I mean you could do whatever you want, it's a free country. It's just like, you know, I mean, politics these days are like, I don't know, just it's just something different, okay, these days. So like, I don't really want to get into that. But anyways, okay, let's go to the next question. What type of music do you listen to when you're exercising or working out? Well, when I actually go to the gym, I actually, this might seem kind of funny. I like avoid music. Like, okay, like I'm not gonna focus on music while I'm at the gym. Uh, this past summer I was trying to gain some muscle. I gained some muscle. I gained some weight. Now I'm trying to lose some weight. So like, I kind of just like push all that stuff, like my job, music stuff, like out of my mind, and I don't focus on it. So it's like whatever the gym plays, I listen to. Really, that's the truth. I I think music can be very powerful and motivate you, but my musicianship at like this point in my life has just taken me to like a different place. So I actually like to get away from it while I'm at the gym, and that's just me being honest. All right. What type of music do you listen to when you're feeling down? Um, that's another thing. I don't really I do not at all let music I don't turn to music like that. Like if I'm feeling down, usually I'll like watch TV and eat some food. Not to sound insensitive, okay, but I'm just being real. I don't get that emotional with music. I don't get that that far into it. I don't look at it that way. I don't use it as an outlet that way. And I'm going to allude to the next question because I'm thinking in my mind right now. Okay. How do you feel when listening to instrumental music versus vocal music? Okay, this is an interesting question. I like to listen to everything, and I like to listen to instrumentals, and I like to listen to vocal music. Instrumental music is more like what you feel. It's more about like moods, I think. I don't know. I mean, like you can really make it what you want it to be, as opposed to like, oh, these are the lyrics and this is how the song goes and this is what I'm talking about and now we're talking about, such and such and, this, that, and the other thing. Even in I'm pretty sure like in my first movie, like I put instrumental music in there because I wanted you in my first movie to understand like what my message was, my overall message was, is that you know instruments go hand in hand with singing, kind of, like it's my strong opinion, all right, but uh it's different in a sense of music being poetry, so you can even more so make instrumental music what you want it to be, or you can entertain the thoughts of what you think it is. And not everything's so like cut and dry with music because it's art. So whenever you have art, you have the freedom to like have fun with it. So and even talking about art is not the easiest thing in the world. Like this is not the easiest thing in the world to maintain relevancy when you talk about music. It's definitely challenging, and that's why we made this YouTube channel for you guys, because it's like, being in a band or talking to your friends about music, it can get really deep sometimes, and it's like, oh well, I think this musician's better because they sold more albums. Oh no, this, and there's like an arena for that almost. So here we go, Dark South Limited, Mark Anthony, Dark 66. I'm right there with you, and it gets more fun and more fun as we go along. All right, so. Last question. Do you think it is important to learn to play a musical instrument? 100% absolutely yes. It is an outlet, just like going to the gym. It'll strengthen your emotions. It'll give you a positive release. It will help you release any anger or pent up energy you have. It's a great hobby. I know it could be therapeutic. There's so many health benefits that come with performing music. And I'm going to add on to this. I think it's good when people who perform music have at least one person listen to them. Because if you're just the type of person that likes to play for like a release or because you're feeling angry or such, I think that's good. But in my opinion, I think all music should be heard at least by one audience, one person, one audience member. That's my strong opinion. And my strong opinion is yes, learn an instrument at least one time in your life. It'll benefit you in ways that you couldn't even imagine. And let somebody hear it. Let somebody hear it. Go for it. Don't be afraid. If I can do it, you can do it. This is Mark Anthony Dark 66. See you later. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are back again. I am Mark Anthony Dark 66. We are in the 6th movie installment working with Dark South Limited. And I am Mark Anthony Dark 66. You can call me the 66, however you like it. I'm about to close this movie out with some more musical tips, tricks, strong opinions to help you out as a musician. Even though I'm not a member of your band, music has to be talked about, it has to be worked out, walked out, talked out, whatever you want to call it. Being a musician is not easy, in the least sense of the word, whether you do it just to sing karaoke or you're doing it and you're making millions of dollars. It's not easy. That's why we talk about it. We talk about money, music, money, record sales, how to make music, etc., etc., etc. The list goes on and on and on. And even if you're not getting paid money for music, you still take pride in what you do and act like you're getting paid to do it, because that'll make you better. Alright, great. Let's get into this. This is not easy, by the way. I want you guys to know that right off the bat. Like, I have to really, before I answer these questions, I sit down and I really reflect on how I'm going to answer these questions. Like, some of it I already know, some of it just comes to me naturally, but, like, it is, like, a tedious process. Just so you know, like, this YouTube stuff is kind of like performing. It's like, I gotta say the right stuff at the right times. Like, it's not, like, this isn't like a walk in the park. And I gotta make sense with what I'm saying, which, when you talk about art, is not the easiest thing in the world to do. Alright, let's get into it. What is your favorite movie soundtrack? Okay, so this is definitely I definitely thought like real long and hard about this one, and this definitely goes back to the 8 Mile movie with Eminem. Now, I again, like, I'm really honest, like, I'm not like a huge Eminem fan. My favorite rapper is Lil Wayne. However, I really liked Eminem when he first started, like his first few albums, and then I want to say, I guess it was the Marshall Mathers LP2 that he made. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. I'm pretty sure that's the name of the album. Came out later, like maybe when I was in like my mid 20s. That was pretty hot. The one thing about Eminem that I always wanted to say this, that nobody really said, that I felt when I listened to him, was, I know he's like a really fast rapper and he's like a lyrical genius, and he does this and he does that. The one thing that Eminem always did for me, like when I listen to his music, is like he has a really good build in his like the song Lose Yourself in that movie. Like, it's a really solid build up until the chorus, and like he just builds it. You know what I mean? And it's like he has like he's like a great anticipation style rapper. Like you know, yo, I'm doing this, then I'm doing this, then I'm doing this, then I'm doing this. It's like you know, I'm talking in metaphorically, but it's like he always, even though like he's like multifaceted, he has like all these different types of talents and stuff. Like I was always able to like feel his emotion like through his music, and and the build and the anticipation, like he always made me feel like I was like there with him, kind of. You know what I mean? And like he's like super talented. Uh, Definitely one of the top five like best rappers of all time. Like definitely in my book. Uh, but yeah, like that's my favorite movie soundtrack. Like Eminem Lose Yourself, the movie is 8 Mile. I remember like being in the theater and I was with a family member at the time, and I remember like we both we almost had the urge to like stand up when they played that song and like just like kind of like, you know, like sway with the music, like beat bop with him like as he's rapping, you know what I mean? Like yeah, like cuz you know, he does. He has the Eminem has the ability to make you feel the music like you're there with him, and that's a true talent amongst his other talents that he has that we all know about. All right, next question. What is the most creative use of music in a movie or television show? Okay, I thought about this a lot. Now I really thought like television show, okay, and I actually thought of pro wrestling, okay, and it was this like promo always stuck out in my mind for like years and years and years. I don't really watch wrestling as much as I used to when I was like a kid, but when I was like really into it at this one point in my life, like a huge fan, watching WWE and like, you know, Dwayne the Rock Johnson and everything when he was just a wrestler. You know, they had you know, every year WWE has WrestleMania. It's a pay-per-view, you know. It's like their biggest pay-per-view of the year, WrestleMania. So, WrestleMania 17, The Rock versus Stone Cold. They did a WWE did like a music mashup of The Rock and Stone Cold, and they used the song My Way. If you have not seen this, even if you're not a wrestling fan, like go look up this mashup and see how they correlate, because wrestling's dramatic already because these guys are like putting their bodies on the line, and like whatever you think about wrestling, like at the end of the day, like that stuff has to hurt. Okay, that's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to get into a debate whether like wrestling's like real or fake or whatever. Like I'm saying that the way they orchestrated the music with the wrestling moves in the sequence to give a promo for the event is just so masterful. And the song you know, by like Limp Bizkit, is they're not even like my favorite band really. I like I don't know, like two or three Limp Bizkit songs, like okay, but I mean it just fits so perfect. And and you can see that this is like a real desire between, you know, The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin, that they would like to be the best in wrestling, you know. And it's so perfect, like every time. Like even if you don't watch wrestling, I'm telling you, WrestleMania 17, The Rock versus Stone Cold, before the match they have a promo of leading up to WrestleMania. Watch it and feel the music, and see what's, see what's happening, like with the music and the wrestling moves. It's very, very interesting to watch, very entertaining. That's my all-time favorite music that was used in a television show, okay, which is like wrestling every week, but they used it in a pay-per-view. It's phenomenal. I'm telling you, it's been number one for years in my book. Check it out. All right, next question. Okay. Do you think music can be used as a form of therapy? Absolutely, amongst other things. Like, I mean, music can be used in so many different ways. So many different ways. It can be used in a romantic way, in a non-romantic way. It could be used, like, it could definitely be used as a weapon like that. Like, of course, like, that's like, that doesn't even, I'm not even gonna, I'm not even gonna go there. We keep this, we're keeping this PG-13. I mean, look, I hope that I have fans of all ages. Okay? Adults, you know, teenagers who are musicians, etc., etc. But when, you could definitely, absolutely, I mean, that's a no-brainer. I mean, you could even listen to, like, white noise, brown noise, green noise, and it calms and helps you go to sleep and yada yada yada. I mean, the list goes on and on. We could talk about that for 5 days, But I try to be put my spin on it. You know what I mean? Because I got these bad boy sunglasses on, so we try to keep everything rock and roll or rock and roll relevant here, because I'm wearing these bad boy sunglasses. It's about to go down. All right, going off topic, not trying to have too much fun. Let's stay serious. Yes, music can be used therapeutically amongst many other things. Many other things, absolutely. Okay. Okay, let's see. Do you think lyrics are important in a song, or do they not matter much? Huh. This is how I'm going to answer this. The final product of your song matters the most. Like the whole culmination. The lyrics, the singing, and all the music. The drums, the bass, the guitar, the producer's music, like the final product is what matters. And that goes for like every band situation. You're not just looking at the lyrics. Okay? That can be important for some, but in my opinion, no. Everything that goes into making a song is the most important. I mean, me being in a band, there's been times where I'm with the musicians and, like, I'll give an example of like 2 bands ago. I was with the 2 musicians at the time. I was with my drummer and guitar player, and they wanted to extend this song, and they were doing so well together, extending the ending of this song, that I just chilled back and let them do the work. And I just, like, kind of like cheered them on, as a lead singer would, and, encouraged them to, play it awesome. Sometimes that's what you want to do as a singer. Sometimes you want to just take a step back and say, "Hey, look, they're really turning it up a notch. I'm gonna let the musicians really do their thing." I have a good ear and eye for that. I notice that type of stuff. So that's my strong opinion on that. You can do what you want. If you like to do songs like in a little more crisp format, I like to use innovation when I'm in a band. Innovation meaning I like big endings, alternate endings. It's probably a segment for another time, but you get the point. So again, it's the final product. All not just the lyrics. I mean, everything matters. Everything matters in a song, in making a song. Okay, do you like to experiment with different musical styles? Um, Me personally, do I like to? I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, go check me out, Mark Anthony Dark 66. You'll see mostly rock. You'll see mostly rock on there. I do cover like a Clapton song. So that's kind of like, yeah, it's kind of like alternative rock, a little bluesy. You know, there's this one cover I do, one of my favorites. I do like a Michael Jackson rock song. And then mostly the rest is just rock and like alternative rock. I mean, I don't go too far out of my genre, but yeah, I mean like for me to go from rock to blues, I'm going back to the origination of rock and roll, which is the blues. It was derived from the blues, amongst some other different styles of music, but there's definitely blues in rock and roll, and that's definitely a strong like aspect of where it came from. So, yeah, I mean generally yes, uh, but it's more of a it's different styles depending on the instruments that you play can be determined by how you do it. That's so hard to explain. It's so hard to explain because it's like I'm saying that if rock and roll came from the blues, then it's really not different if that's where it came from. See what I'm saying? So it's like you understand like a truth. I may have said that slightly wrong, but I wasn't. It's that type of stuff is really hard for me to explain, but you're essentially doing where it like you're essentially doing the birth of where it came from. You know what I mean? I mean now if I were to sing like a pop song, I probably wouldn't be able to accentuate. I'd probably struggle hitting those notes because my delivery is usually different. But you know, I mean, check it out on my page. My page is fun. I mean, I do classic rock, alternative rock, hard rock, soft rock. I mean, but I still consider that all the same genre. But don't get me wrong, I'm still really proud of my work and check it out. But you gotta like rock music is what I'm trying to say. And Eric Clapton's still rock. That doesn't really count. I'm not trying to like trick you guys or anything. I'm just trying to answer that like fairly. And I'm a rock singer. I'm not trying to like over embellish anything over here. All right, next and last question. What is the best way to discover new music? All right, now, like, my personal favorite way to discover new music is I usually like to ask somebody who their favorite artist is and why. If they've ever seen them live, the list goes on and on and on. Um, it's fun to talk about that kind of stuff and see like why people are so interested in an artist, or maybe there's a story that goes along with it, or it's a lot of times if you just listen and being a part of being a musician is having good listening skills. a lot of it is if you listen the right way, the correct way, you'll be able to like find entertainment value in that. You know what I mean? I remember I remember like talking to my drummer a few bands ago about one of his favorite bands, and this particular band I'd never really liked them that much until he told me why he liked them. And then I watched the documentary on them, and then I was like, wow, these guys are pretty cool. And the band I'm talking about is the band Kiss. And it was like when he told me that that was his favorite band, I was like, "Oh, you don't seem like that type of guy." And it was an interesting story from his point of view, from his perspective as to why they were his favorite band. In terms of new music, it's like, okay, you go to a website and there's a promotion on there. Oh, you got to listen to this. I mean, look, what is the fun in that? Do they tell you, oh yeah, this is such and such is like a really cool musician? Like, I'm not telling you what to do, and I'm saying there's a lot of different platforms that you can find new music on, but my personal favorite way to go about it is through common conversation, and that's my strong opinion, and I'm sticking to it. This is Mark Anthony, Dark 66. See you later.
Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're giving me wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Oh, well, I don't wanna jinx it, baby, and twist myself at the spine. Don't wanna overthink it, baby. It's just twist your body and mine. Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're giving me wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Oh, but I don't wanna jinx it, baby. Let's not get ahead of my time. Oh, but I don't wanna miss you, baby. So I stand up and speak my mind. Oh. Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're chilling wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here